Hi, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 4 of Let's Build a City. In this episode, I'll be showing you how to build the structure of a modern apartment block. I've based this off of an apartment block in China, and it has these really cool wavy patterns that go right up, and it's got a little garden at the top or whatever you want. You can have an infinity pool or whatever you want. It's not too hard, but it requires a lot of building. So let's get started. First, build a 5-block row of quartz blocks. Then in the middle, destroy it and then place a ground with a quartz block. Then on the left, backwards, build 6 blocks diagonally. And on the 6th block, build 2 more blocks horizontal to that. So it should look like a quarter of a circle. Then on the right of those 3 horizontal blocks, go a further 7 blocks diagonally back, so it looks like a semicircle. And then on the 7th block, build 2 more horizontal. So it should look something like that. Then copy the pattern that you did on the other side onto the other side, so it's symmetrical. So you've got the going back 7 blocks, the 2 blocks horizontal, then going diagonally back to finishing with the 5 blocks you built at first. Then the next job is to replace all the grass inside with quartz blocks. You obviously don't want to watch me doing this, so pause the video and you can do it yourself. Okay, so that's done now. So now, at the entrance, place a quartz block on either side of where you've made the hole, just on top of the block that's already there. So it makes sort of a doorway, but without a top. Then on the rest of the outer blocks, place light blue glass blocks, so they act like windows, apart from at the back 3, where you do the same thing. You put 2 quartz blocks on either edge, so it creates just 1 block in the middle. So you put quartz blocks all around the edge, and you just fill in the gaps, apart from that doorway you've made at the front, but you also fill in the gaps in the back, so it's just a 1 block window. So this will make the reception area. So when you come in here, this will actually be 2 floors tall, so it will be quite nice and grand. So on top of this layer of glass, you should build 2 layers of quartz blocks all around, so there's no exceptions this time. Even over the doorway, because it's already 2 blocks high, so you can put a doorway inside. Then you want to put another layer of light blue glass blocks, but at the front of the build you don't have to do any more exceptions, no more quartz blocks, but at the back do the same thing. So do the 2 edges in quartz and then the middle one in a light blue glass. I forgot to do it here, so I'm just going to come back later and do it. So after that, you just place 1 more layer of quartz blocks on top, and then that's the reception done. So the next thing you want to do is leave a space at the right of the back. So leave 1 row of 3 blocks as space, and then put the rest of the ceiling on. So this should be in line with the top quartz row you've made. So it should be just a normal ceiling, which will act as the floor for the next level. For each apartment, I've decided that this will be quite nice apartment block. So each level will be one apartment. Of course, if you want to change that, you can. In this video, we're just building the structure, so it doesn't matter how many apartments you want to have on each floor. Also, the hole we've made at the back is that so you can go up and down. In this video, for an elevator, I'm going to use scaffolding, just because it's very easy to use and you can control where you stop. Well, if I use, for example, a magma block elevator or something like that, then it's not so easy to control where you're going. You have to just go straight up, so it's a bit more difficult. So that's what your build should look like right now, with the gap at the back. Now it gets a bit more complicated. So in the top, in the left corner of the front of the build, build a light blue glass block, then 2 more coming out diagonal. This is around the edge only. Then 4 quartz blocks, then 3, then 4, then 3. 3 is referring to the light blue glass, and 4 is referring to the quartz blocks, apart from right at the end, because then you'll need to use 5 quartz blocks. Just remember that while you're doing this whole pattern. So this is the pattern we'll have throughout, apart from it'll be moving every time. So when you start on the next block. So start the light blue glass blocks on the second block that you built on the last one. So it should be sort of moving in a clockwise direction around the building. So when you finished all the levels, it will look really cool. So you just follow the pattern, you're just moving them one block to a side, and that's what we're going to do through the whole building. We're going to build 10 levels in this apartment block, which is 30 levels of this. I'm going to build 3 levels with you. Then I'm going to show you the roof of each floor, and then I'll skip, and then you can see the finished thing, and then we can put the last touches on it. So there should be 3 rows of this pattern per floor, and you just keep going up and up. I would suggest actually putting the floor in while you're doing it. Otherwise, it's very easy to lose track of where you are. You might have to count blocks, and then it gets a bit complicated. So you just want to remember to keep moving that along and don't rush it. Otherwise, it's very difficult to notice your mistakes in this pattern, because it all looks a bit jumbled up at the beginning because you can't see the overall pattern. So it won't be as easy to find your mistakes. And just remember that there is one 5-block quartz thing, because that makes sure the pattern stays as a whole circle. So then you want to leave the same 3 blocks at the back empty, so you can go up and down. I'm going to fill the rest in quartz blocks. So let me just do that quickly. So this apartment block shouldn't take too long to build, and it's not that difficult. You just need to, I guess, focus a little bit while doing it, because it's really easy to make a mistake in this design. But it does look really cool. It looks really modern, and the swirling patterns look really nice in this build. It's also got quite big apartments if you're doing 1 per floor, so that's quite nice as well. So yeah, so you have to repeat this whole thing 9 more times. So that's 27 more rows of this pattern and 9 more of these ceiling things. That's quite a lot of building to do. So I'm going to leave you to. I'm going to get on to my own. I'm not going to video it because that would be really boring. But that's what it should look like right now. Just check it looks like that, because if you made a mistake on it, you don't want to go back and change the whole thing, because that'd just be horrible. Okay, then I'm going to stop filming now, and you can pause the video and do it, and then resume when you're finished. So this is what the finished product should look like after the building you've done. So it should have 11 floors, including the reception, which is 2 floors, so it actually has around 12 floors inside it. I've forgotten to put the ceiling on, so I'm quickly going to do that. If you have already put the ceiling on the very top, just check it does have the hole at the back, because we do want to be able to access the roof, even if you haven't built anything on top of it, because it's quite nice. But in this case, I'm going to build a sky garden that leads onto a balcony, which I think looks quite cool. But if you don't want to do that, you can do an infinity pool, you can do an outside bedroom, or you can just put a couple stairs around to look like seats and make it look like it's a lounging area. But I think it is still quite important to access this space, because when I have developed the city up a bit more, you can have a really cool view from the roofs of these buildings, better than you have inside. Another really cool feature about the moving windows is that not every floor is the same. So some floors will be a bit lighter, while some floors will be a bit darker. Because the way I'm going to do it, just so it's not too complicated, I'm going to put the furniture in the same place on every floor, which means some furniture will block out more light, while others will be on quartz, so they won't. So it actually has different floors, while you didn't have to really build accustomed to that. It wasn't that difficult to do it. But now I've done the roof, so the place where you would come up, you build horizontal to that on the 2 outer blocks of the 3, leaving the middle one empty. You build a row of grass blocks. So basically just cover the whole roof in grass blocks apart from the edges, because I want to build like a glass bubble over this, so if it starts raining or something, you're fine. So as long as you just leave that middle row of that circular roof open with no grass inside it, and you leave the edges open, just fill it all with grass blocks. So after that grass building, this is what it should look like. So it should have a row in the middle where there's nothing, and it should have all the outer edges completely clear. So now we're nearly finished. So at the very front, in the middle top block, build a stair, just one quartz stair leading out, basically into nowhere. And then from that, I'm going to build an 11 by 4 balcony. And also by the sides of the squares, I'm going to build 2 quartz blocks, so it's sort of a bit covered. So this will be quite a nice balcony. And then on the edges of that, I'm going to just cover it in a light blue glass panes. So it's got sort of like a fence around it so you don't fall off. So this is the balcony. I mean, you can use this for anything. You can put seats on it. If you really want, you can put a pool on it. I'm just building a balcony because my plan is to have quite tall buildings and the whole area to be completely built up. So I think just the view is enough for my build. But if you think you need to put something else, that's completely fine. That's the balcony done. Then, around the edge of the grass blocks, you should put quartz so that from the outside you can't see like the mud bit of the grass. So just put around all the outer blocks a bit of a quartz, so it covers the sides of the grass blocks. So when you've done that, then you can build up 4 with your light blue glass panes. So make sure you cover the whole edge. So up 4, and this will be like a bubble over you, and it'll look quite cool. So it's up 4 on all the quartz blocks you built on the edge. Then you want to fill that gap you've made with light blue glass blocks. You also want to cover that middle bit where it leads out into the balcony just with one block at the top. So just make sort of a roof out of the glass block so it's really nice and light in there. Now for the final part of this build, we're going to put the scaffolding in. So where the elevator is, or where that space is at the back, do not put anything in that middle row. Instead, on the 2 outer edges, put scaffolding. If you don't know how to use scaffolding, that's fine, but you don't have to build up. You don't have to go up and press it. You can just tap on the existing scaffolding and it'll build up for you, like that. This is a bit finicky and sometimes scaffoldings can go everywhere and basically make a mess, but it's a really easy way to build up. The downside is you don't know exactly how high up you are, so I suggest sometimes just to go and check how far up you are in the build. Scaffoldings are quite good because you can go up, you just make sure that you can't fly and you're not in that setting, and you can just go up and down, and you can really control it, and you can still see out, so you can see what level you're on, because in the next video I'm going to show you how we put signs on them, how we sign each floor, level 1, level 2. So it's just a really easy thing. It might not look the most realistic, but honestly nothing about this build is really that realistic, so I don't think it matters that much. So when you've done that, that's basically the whole structure of the building done. You might have noticed I didn't do any of the furniture, none of the gardens at the top, balconies, nothing. That's all for the next video. I feel like building this was enough. But so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do like the build, like and subscribe. Also, one last thing, at the very top, place 1 scaffolding in the middle, so that when you're trying to get onto that top floor, that roof, you don't just fall back down. Okay, so that's basically the whole structure of the build done, and you can see you can just go up and down in a controlled way. I'll put the door in and everything in the next video. Okay, so that should be what the finished building looks like. If it looks a bit different to that, honestly, it doesn't really matter. It's not worth going back over all of that. But I think it looks really cool. I think the build goes well with the modern theme I've got going on right now. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.